Hey, I have a question.
Go ahead and ask me, Edward.
Do I look like Seth Rogen?
Not at all, bro.
Yeah, we went to go see Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Is that what it's called?
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Scary Stories in the Dark.
The dark stories to tell scary folks.
Yeah. And somebody stopped me and said, "Oh shit, I thought you were Seth Rogen."
Dude, I don't know why you said that. You don't look anything like him. You don't sound like him.
Yeah, so Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is based off of a kid's book. Well, not really kids. It's like young adult. It's like Goosebumps, but like the next step after Goosebumps. So that's what this movie.
You know more about this than I did. I didn't know anything about it. It was weird. It was good, and then it was weird.
Okay, so there are things I liked about it. There were things that I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
And so let's start with, first of all, spoilers. If anybody cares.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
If you care, then spoilers. If you don't, then let's ruin a movie.
Let's ruin the movie that ruined our night.
Okay, so the things, So the things I liked about this movie were like the 1960s vibes that they kind of recreated there, like the things with the war and the dynamics with the kids, although it's kind of like a discount losers club.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah, it is kind of like a discount losers club.
Like a discount losers club.
Even like, yeah. I was going to say down to even how they look. It almost looked like we were watching it again.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it took place in 1968, right?
Yeah, and if nothing else, this movie only got me excited for it coming out in a month.
Yeah, especially with that trailer that just came out. Bada bing, bada boom. Who's in the room, baby, baby?
But yeah, I mean, you know, you have your losers club, whatever they're called, the group of friends.
Yeah.
And you had the bullies. And how was this even set up? So it's Halloween night, and we're kind of being introduced to each of the losers. I'm going to keep calling them the Losers Club because they don't have an official name.
The Losers Club to the second degree.
Right. So discount losers. We're introduced to them and their little family thing. So we see what's her name? Shelly?
It is
the
main girl, right?
The main girl. Her name
Stella.
So Stella, we're introduced to her and her dad, Hank from Breaking Bad. Dean Norris.
Yep.
I feel like he was wasted in this movie.
He seemed it, but his part himself was weird.
It was a very small role.
Yeah.
When I first saw him, I was excited. I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, played Roy Nichols. Stella Nichols and Roy Nichols.
And overall, he had a very minor role in the film, but then his acting just seemed... I mean, it was probably not his fault. It's probably just the direction and the script writing and
not his
all
fault.
That.
That's what he was telling his daughter.
Oh my god! So yeah, spoilers. We'll get back to that. At the end of the movie, but so weird. He was wasted. I feel.
Yeah. So it's Halloween night. We see those two. Mm-hmm. He was just sitting in the chair. Stella brought him his food.
Yeah.
And then she got ready to go out for Halloween.
Yep.
And then her friends.
And her friend, she goes out with her friends, and one of her friends, the sister,
yes,
right, is going on a date with one of the bullies. And she's in the car. And so this is one of the things early on in the movie that kind of seemed out of place to me was the way discount losers behaved with the bully club.
And this is how we got introduced to them, to all of them. We didn't know what their friendship was before this.
Yeah, this was their dynamic. So their first true interaction with the bullies was that they were already prepared. They had a bag.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the kid. All right. So Chuck Steinberg, Austin Zazer's character, he was fishing his own poop, out of the toilet. To throw it at the bullies.
But he didn't just throw it at the bullies. He lit it on fire and threw it into the bullies' car.
At first they tricked them by, I don't know what was in the bag. I think there might have been poop in the bag.
Oh, so the bullies were driving by and they stole the bag.
But the discount losers club knew that they were going to steal it. Yes. Remember he put it out. He put it out like this on purpose.
Yeah. So they knew what was going to happen. They were one step ahead of the bullies, stupid bullies. and then it ended up being a bag of poop, and then they threw like a Molotov cocktail into the car.
After throwing eggs at the car.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the eggs too.
Yeah.
And then they run, but when you do this to a bully, what do you expect to happen?
But the bully to come back and fight back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah, and so the bullies chase them through the woods to the spooky house where they get locked in.
Nope.
No? Is that not what happened?
This is how they met Ramon Morales. They hid in his car.
They hid in his car first, right, at the drive-in movie, which was cool, too.
Yes.
It was a cool scene.
They were watching
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. And
awesome flick, whatever they said.
Yeah. It was an awesome flick. Ramon Morales was in the car.
Yeah.
And he is a guy that has no affiliation with the Discount Losers Club.
Yeah, he's just...
Or the town, for that matter.
Yeah, he's just dragged into it, and they treat him like garbage in this movie. Well, it's 1968, and he's Hispanic, and...
They call him a wetback.
Yeah, and they're profiling him, and they're doing... they're just not nice to him.
Yeah, it's not a good
And so that's how they're introduced to Ramon, and him and Stella, they have an immediate...
Connection.
They're already in love.
They fancy each other a little bit.
Yeah.
But then she says to Ramon, "Hey, do you guys want to see a haunted house?"
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So she's there. She's crying. And then she turns around. She's like, oh, that's right. We're going to go to a haunted house. And then they show up at the murder house from American Horror Stories.
Dude, it was so scary. The classic leaves falling on the house, dark, everything's like falling apart, dust and cobwebs everywhere.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Well, it was very tropey.
Creaking and cracking and cracking and creaking.
It was very tropey. It was very stereotypical, this is a haunted house type thing.
Oh, and then, all right, so they go into the house. Ramon and Stella find a secret door.
Yeah, and they split up.
Yeah. Yeah, they split up, which is the worst thing you could do, but that is always what happens in these movies. They split up.
Yeah.
For no reason.
And then they find the book, and she starts reading from the book, because that is what one will do when you're locked in a room and the bullies are, like, taunting at you.
Naturally, you pick up a book.
Naturally, you're just going to start reading out of the book when the bullies are there. Yeah, so that was just bizarre. We have set up a little bit of foreshadowing with the Scarecrow. You want to talk about that?
Yes.
Our bully? Yeah.
So the bully, I believe his name was Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tommy lives on a farm. This is all taking place in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, Pennsylvania. Rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he lives on a farm, and he's hitting this Scarecrow with bottles, him and his friends, and smashing a baseball bat into the Scarecrow's face, named Harold. Harold
Crick. That comes back to bite him. Well, not literally bite him, but it comes back to haunt him later.
Because, let's go back to now the book.
The book. What does the book do?
So the book that Stella is reading is Sarah Bellows' book.
Sarah Bellows.
And Sarah Bellows was the one who lives down in the secret dungeon thing where they found the book. And she writes stories.
With her mind or something.
With her brain.
So now that the book is in possession of... Well, no. The book isn't in possession of the children. The children are in possession of the book.
Yeah. Do you see what the movie did there?
Words will appear on the pages.
Yes.
And they'll be reading. And then it's just words, and then the stories will happen, and then they'll call each other on the phone and say, oh, don't do the thing that's happening.
Don't do the thing. The thing that I'm reading on the book that's appearing out of nowhere.
And they're so skeptical, too. Like, who's the one kid? Okay, so let's go in order.
Okay.
The first thing that happens is that the bully is walking through the cornfield.
Yes.
And the Scarecrow starts to follow him.
Yes. And as Stella is reading this, the words are appearing out of thin air onto the pages. So Sarah Bellows is writing the story as it's happening in real life.
Yeah.
So as Tommy goes walking through the cornfield,
delivering eggs
in the middle of
the
by Harold the Scarecrow.
Yeah. He said, "Fuck you, Harold."
It's all appearing in the book.
Yeah. And then the Scarecrow starts to follow him. And this was one of 2 jump scares for me that actually got me.
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of jump scares in this film. 2 of them worked.
2 of them
for me.
2 of them.
This was the first one. This one was the first one that was like.
Yeah. It was the classic like cut back and forth.
Yeah.
And he was like facing one way, and then he turned around, and then bam! It was right
Bam,
there.
and it was loud.
Oh, it was freaking! It scared
loud.
the shit out of me. I jumped out of my seat.
And it was effective. It was quick and effective. And then Scarecrow Man stabs him with the pitchfork.
Yep.
And when he leaves out of the cornfield, he's like throwing up, and like I thought like blood was coming out and like all that, but actually he was turning into a scarecrow.
So he was throwing up hay.
Yeah.
And he turns into the Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow.
He becomes Harold
from the Wizard of Oz.
From the Wizard of Oz. So that's the first story that Sarah Bellows writes in her Mysterious Witch book.
Yeah, that's story number 1. Then story number 2 is The Toe.
Yes, with Augie.
Augie. So I want to bring it back.
Okay.
Augie is an asshole in this movie.
I don't think he's an asshole. He's a...
Actually, he was dressed up as Art the Killer Clown from Terrifier.
Is that what that was from?
No, that's not what it was. It was a Paraguay. What did they?
I don't know.
They kept repeating the same joke over and over again, but like the color scheme for his costume was like Art the Clown.
It was just a white and black clown suit. It was weird. Yeah. It was very scary, I think.
It was.
Those kind of clown suits scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. So anyway, he was kind of a dick in this movie because when the other losers were saying how bad things were happening, he was just like, "It's not real," and he was like,
"I don't want to believe
stubborn.
You."
Yeah. So he got what he deserved because then he went into the kitchen to get something to eat, and there's a mysterious pot in the
Did you notice that when he was on the phone with, I'm going to assume his mom, he goes, "I'm going to eat the stew that's in the fridge."
Yeah.
And you don't hear what's on the other side of the phone. And then he goes, "Well, I assume somebody made it."
Yeah.
So it just appeared.
Yeah, it just appeared.
Because his mom didn't know where the stew came from.
They probably didn't even own that pot. That probably didn't even belong to them.
But he didn't even own that Frigidator.
And they're like, "Oh, don't eat the stew." And this guy, man, he didn't even warm it up. He was eating cold stew.
He just ate it out of the pot, right out of the Frigidator.
Savage. Barbarian. Anyway, so they're on the walkie-talkie with him, warning him, don't eat the thing because the toe lady is going to come looking for her toe.
Yeah, she said, "Don't say the word, who took my toe?" Is that what it was?
Yeah, they're going to say, you're going to hear a voice say, "Who took my toe?"
Yeah, who took my toe?
Who took my toe? And so she's kind of narrating his own death. And so he kind of just sits down on the floor and gives up. He runs upstairs, under the bed. And this is like the longest setup for a jump scare I've ever seen in my life.
I was going to say, in the stew, there was the toe.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So there was a toe in the stew, and then he pulls it out of his mouth, and it's a gross toe.
Yeah, and that's when he realizes that it's real. And then he starts freaking out.
Yeah. And so he hides under the bed, and it's like 20 minutes of tension.
This is where the second jump scare comes.
Yeah, I mean, you knew it was coming because they set it up for a half hour.
I mean, that got me even more because then I'm like, when the
waiting for it.
Yeah, I went like this then. I was like,
because with typical jump scare and the one that they used, 10 minutes earlier with the Scarecrow, where he looked and then looked back and then boom, jump scare. But this, he like looked and then he looked up and down and sideways and he looked out the window and he looked over here.
I really started clenching when he pulled himself up over the bed like that. Whoa.
It was effective though. It definitely built up the tension. When the lady was twisting the doorknob.
Oh yeah.
It was creepy, and it was effective.
Because all you see is the doorknob turning, and then all of a sudden he looks back up, and the door's completely open now.
Yeah, and there's nobody standing in the door. So it was creepy. I think it was effective. And then Toe Lady drags him into an endless void, and his fingernails are like in the board.
Yeah.
In the floorboards.
Yeah. That was scary because her like face just went like, ah! I just remember screaming out of nowhere.
The face kind of looked like the painting when the painting came alive in It Chapter 1.
Oh,
when it was like,
Ooh, good reference. Yeah, that was good. And then, to be brutally honest,
and then it kind of...
This is where it went downhill.
Yeah.
And it was no longer good after that.
So then they kind of regroup. And, so earlier in the film, the sister had the spider bite, and it kept getting bigger.
And bigger and bigger and bigger. She thought it was a pimple.
She thought it was a pimple, but it was spiders in her face.
Yeah.
She had spiders.
Yeah, that was her story. But because the kids, the losers, the
Losers Club.
Yeah, the wannabe Losers Club.
Yeah.
Started to figure out how this whole thing works with, as Sarah Bellows writes it and they narrate it, they can figure out what's going to happen. So they go to the high school and they finally save the first person that they can save, which is Chuck's sister.
Yeah, but that scene was confusing too, because after the spiders come out and they save her or whatever, the very next scene they're like, we lost her, and they're taking her out, and they're like, we didn't save her. Or did I...
No, they did say that, but...
It was weird.
But then after, like at the end of the movie, or towards the end of the movie, they said...
And then they saved her.
Yeah, they said they saved her.
But then...
So they said they didn't save her, then they saved her.
Right, but then the cop said that, oh, no, you didn't save her, but she's in the mental hospital for the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's what the cop said. Yeah.
Liar.
Then we have Chuck. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so this is where it goes downhill.
This is where it gets weird.
Chuck, Ramon, and Stella all go to a hospital
like
where Sarah Bellows was belonged to the patient at when she was alive to try to figure out her motive behind killing people through stories.
Yeah. And so this was just weird because it's so convenient the way things happen, because, you know, they get there and they're explaining it's for class and they need a patient file and all that, and they're like, no, you can't do it. And then, of course, they're like, oh, it's going to take 6 weeks, so you have to fill out this form.
Yeah.
So they take the form, but then, conveniently enough, like...
The security guard.
70 people, 70 doctors come out of the door, and they're like, let's go over here. And it was like a Three Stooges bit where they're like, we're going to go...
Why did the cop walk with him? All he had to do was hold open the door.
Yeah, and they
stupid.
It was an endless row of just people walking through the door. So like, we're just gonna scoot on in here, and so they go in there. They throw out their little
clipboard of the papers they were supposed to sign.
And they go look for
Sarah Bellows, like anything they could find, like her medical records, all that stuff.
Yeah, so they went to look for like her information or whatever, and so the kid, one of the other kids, is like, I don't want to go.
And he didn't want to go because he had kept having a dream where a lady said, stay out of the red room or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay out of the red room. And conveniently enough, the name of the room they needed to go to was the red room. The records.
Room.
What was it? Records and something directory. Wasn't that what it's called? Records. And then the E meant something, and then D was directory. And that means the R-E-D, the red room. And he was just like, I'm not going there. The lady told me not to go in there.
And so he's running through the hospital, and everything turns red. And
everything becomes the red room.
Yeah, everything becomes the red room.
Everything.
And there's this lady.
This Jabba the Hutt wannabe.
And she's everywhere. And this isn't really a jump scare.
Her face is pasty white.
Yeah.
Her eyes are probably out here. Her head has triple chins, and it's about this big.
You know what she looked like? Do you remember that internet thing where people were like, on kids' YouTube things that there was this domo? Was that what it was called?
Something like that.
That creepy looking thing with
white,
the eyes
the pasty white, yeah.
But it was like not thin like that was. It was like Jabba the Hutt shaped.
Jabba the Hutt, but like that.
Lots of chins.
Yes.
And so it walked like...
And it kept smiling like...
No, it had like a closed mouth smile. It was like...
Oh, yeah.
It was like derpy looking. But this wasn't even like a jump scare, because every like story, every monster was a jump scare. And that was one of the problems, is that it was very Final Destination. Where it's
Kinda.
like, oh, your name is there, you're going to die next.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And it kind of was like Jumanji, where it's like, oh, you rolled this, and now this is what's going to happen to you, and then it would happen.
Yeah.
It was very formulaic.
By the book.
It was
by the Cerebello's book.
It was very formulaic.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, this is going to happen to you. You're going to die next.
Ramon and what's her face, Stella, found the room and they're listening to the records. And poor Chuck is trying to find his way out of this hallway, but every which way he turns, the lady with the triple chin is walking slowly and slowly towards him. And then he gets stuck in a four-way intersection, and the lady's coming from each way, and she goes like this with her arms out and walks towards him.
Yeah, and she's like everywhere he turns, but it's never like a jump scare. It's always like, oh,
there she is.
She's just
there she
hobbling.
is. Oh, there she is.
And then she's closer each time, and then she goes out with her arms out, and then he like nestles himself.
She gives him a hug.
She hugs him,
and then he just absorbs.
And she goes
into her body.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly.
And that was it. It wasn't. He wasn't like. Was he murdered? Was he dead?
He was just
He's
gone.
just inside this thing.
He was just gone. That was it. And that's when I said, this movie's stupid.
You know what? I'm good.
Yeah. I said, I'm totally good. I don't care about this movie anymore.
Okay, so here's one of my biggest issues with this film is it is tonally all over the place. Like, if it was just like a tongue-in-cheek, like, this is for younger audiences type of scary movie, fine. But then they find the record with Sarah Bellows, and they hear
that
her.
Was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But it was not consistent with a lot of what was happening. Yeah. You know? If this was for a younger audience, that was like way out of place.
Yeah.
Because that was disturbing.
Yeah.
They had the tape of her being tortured.
Yeah, and it was recording. And then as they're listening to the recording, it turns back into what's happening in reality.
Yes, and so she starts writing a new
Chuck
story.
Getting absorbed into the lady or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Just the fact that he was going to die. She wasn't saying he's going to get absorbed by the lady.
Yeah.
But that was scary.
It'd be funny if she was in the thing and she was like, don't hug the thing.
Don't hug the thing.
Don't hug the Jabba lady thing.
The Jabba. Don't hug the triple chin lady, you know?
She's no good.
It's a bad crowd. Don't hang around it.
So what happens next? How do they get out of there? Ramona.
They get arrested. Because remember, they find Chuck's pen on the ground, and then the doctors come up behind him, and they're just like, "So, where's your friend?" And then the cop arrests them and take them to the precinct.
Which was also a bizarre scene because then she's on the phone with Dean Norris.
Yes.
And
that was his final scene, wasn't it? Same on the phone explaining that it wasn't her fault that her mom ran away?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's how dumb this movie was.
So they're on the phone, and he is way out of character. So she, first of all, doesn't say that she's at the police department. She's just like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And then he has like a non-reaction.
Yeah, he just keeps saying it's not your fault, and she's like, fault. Dad, I'm gonna die. And he's like, it's not your fault.
Dad, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, whatever. It's not your fault.
Where are you? Like,
where are you?
Where's the zookeeper?
Oh no, where's the zookeeper?
Oh, no. Like, he had such a non-reaction. It was so weird.
It was so out of place. I didn't understand their relationship as father and daughter.
Yeah. Like, if that was me and my kid is on the phone,
telling he's gonna die.
Where the fuck are you? I'm coming in there right now.
I'm coming to get you. And then the dickhead cop tells her to just leave this all alone because he knows her. But then he keeps being a dick to Ramon because he thinks he doesn't belong in that town.
And he's a draft dodger.
And that's when we find out that he was a draft dodger. Yep. And he tried to dodge Vietnam War.
Which he ended up going.
He did end up going at the end.
But we'll get to that. So, Dean Norris learns the news that his daughter's about to die. And he's like, all right, whatever.
Okay, bye.
Then they're in the jail, and this
is the fifth story.
Yeah. So this is it's the fifth story. An animal from the Muppets comes out of the chimney.
In 8 different parts.
Yeah, in pieces.
His head falls through first, and then he just smiles like he's the Joker. And what does he say? Oh, he says something about the tie. It was the name of the story.
Oh, I don't
tie
know
of
what
Madrid
he said.
or something like that.
All I know is that he sounded like Animal from the Muppets. Like I was already feeling like this was stupid from the hug lady.
Yeah.
And then he came and he's like, Animal. And I was like, I lost it. I started laughing.
And then his arms fell, and then his torso fell, and then his legs fell, then his torso fell.
Yeah, and he gets up and he puts himself together and he Man of Steel's the cop. He snaps his neck. And then
bye capo.
Yeah, and then he throws him, which allows the kids to get the key. They escape.
And he was coming after Ramon this time. This story was supposed to be Ramon's death.
Correct. However, they do escape. The stupid thing follows Ramon in the car, but Ramon crashes the car into a truck and pins him in, and it just falls apart so he could get away.
Why Stella can go
to the house.
Go to the house, the original house where Sarah Bellows lives.
Yeah, she keeps going back to that house.
She goes back to that house like I would walk into my apartment, dude. Yeah. She had no fear of going to this house that was trying to kill her.
Yeah, so Animal from the Muppets starts running like I almost called him John Malkovich.
Backwards. His head was always backwards.
Yeah, everything was backwards. What's Glass, right? What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
He was running like him.
The Animal.
Yeah.
He called himself the Animal. What movie was that?
The Beast. Split. But when he did the run, it was like that was in Glass.
The Beast. Yeah. Yeah, he started running like that. Ramon goes to the house. The beast animal thing follows him there. The fucking Muppet baby follows him to the house, trying to kill him. Then Ramon. This is where it was like kind of cool. It was kind of like a little Stranger Things upside down world.
Yes.
Sarah goes. It's not Sarah. Stella goes into 18 whatever 1880 something whatever when Sarah Bellows lived, and her glasses fall off trying to hide from the family. But in real time, Ramon found her glasses. So then you start to think, was Stella Sarah Bellows the whole time?
Yeah, because what happens is that Sarah Bellows' family finds Stella. They grab her and they throw her in the room. They think it's Stella. They think it's Sarah Bellows.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, locked away, and you don't deserve the light, and they shut the light.
Yeah.
And she's locked in the room. And I was like, yes.
This is it. This is finally, it's going to turn back up. It went like this, then it went down, and we're about to shoot off like a rocket.
This movie, in my opinion, would have been so much better had they ended it just having her in the room. She's been Sarah Bellows the whole time. She tries to escape.
It would have been an M. Night Shyamalan ding dong twist.
Yeah, I would have eaten it up. I would have been like, it would have been good. Like, okay, she's Sarah Bellows. She's crazy. She's making all these stories in her head, but nope, that's not what happened. She turns around and not little Sarah Bellows, but apparition Sarah Bellows is in the room with her, and she goes,
Ramon. Remember Ramon?
Tell her the truth. Tell her the truth.
It's fucking
like
Stella, I don't know where you are, but if you see Sarah, tell her the truth.
Tell her the truth. Like, telling the truth to this homicidal ghost thing is gonna, all of a sudden, it has a moral compass now.
Yeah. No, fucking, what is it? Stella just goes, No. Sarah, I will tell your story.
You're innocent. And then Sarah Bellows lets her go, right? What happened after that? I don't remember.
Her moral compass changed. Sarah gives Stella the pen that she's been writing the thing with.
Oh, she had to write it in blood.
She takes her blood and then writes the real story about what happened to Sarah Bellows, which is, here's the final thing, is that Sarah knew that her family was polluting the water and making everyone sick.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. But they blamed it all on her because she was the weirdo of the family, and that's why they beat her and told her to tell her the truth, which was the fake truth, which was that Sarah made all those people sick and not her family.
Weird.
Yeah.
What a shitty family.
Yeah. So then Stella had to write this whole story about how Sarah was innocent.
And then it was a happy ending. And then they set up a sequel by saying, we're never going to stop because we have the book, and there's a way to reverse all my friends dying, and we're going to bring them back in the next movie. So we're going to have a part 2 probably, and we'll be back to review it.
What if Ramon went off to the war and died?
Oh, he did go off to the war.
I know, but what if he died?
Then there's no part 2.
Part 2, Ramon comes back.
So that was the movie, and that's how it ended.
Also, why was Chuck's sister in the car with Stella and her father?
Oh, yeah, and then they had Chuck's sister.
The girl with the spiders coming out of her face. The spiders
came out of her face, and she was like, what, she was sewed up or something?
Yeah.
They fixed her face, and then she was there, and she's just like, happy.
But, like, she didn't even belong to their family.
Yeah.
You know what that was? That was lazy writing. That was them saying, how are we going to show that she definitely is still alive? Oh, let's just put her randomly with Stella and her father.
Yeah, until that point, I thought she was dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was the movie.
Stupid movie.
It was kind of all over the place. But I don't want to shit completely on it. There were things that I did enjoy about this movie.
I'd say 50% of it was good, 50% of it wasn't good.
Yeah. And just the inconsistencies and like the silliness of it kind of just took me out of it.
Yeah.
And Dean Norris.
A guy getting swallowed up by Jabba the Hutt.
So, Dave, would you recommend this movie?
No.
I have to agree.
I would not recommend this.
I don't know who this movie is for. That's the problem. Because, again, like, you have, like, the fun, tongue-in-cheek kid stuff and, like, the kids with their quippy jokes and whatever, and it's, like, cute. And, you know, there were some parts of this movie that were legitimately funny.
It was too scary for kids, but it was too stupid for reasonable people.
Right. Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we give it a rating?
I give this a 5. I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
I give it a 4.8 out of 10.
One bite, everybody knows the rules. Animal.
The tie of Madrid.
All right. Hey, thank you guys for watching. If you guys like what you see, hit that like button.
Subscribe and like to the Hungry Nerd channel. Dude, I look so white. I look so pale.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Jamba Juice took a half hour to make our things.
Freaking Jamba Juice.
We're actually gonna open another Jamba Juice across the way from this Jamba Juice.
And then we're going to tell anybody who comes over to us to ask them to take off their orders.
Yeah, can I get a... go ask them.
Yeah, go ask them.
Hey, you suck.
We're going to throw smoothies at them.
The shakes are good, though.
They were delicious. I got too big. But I finished it.
But yeah, check out our podcast, Where's the Zookeeper?
Where's the Zookeeper? Buy his book.
Ropes in the Attic. It's a horror novel.
Amazon.com.
Ropes in the Attic. Links in the description. Everybody, thank you for watching. See you right next time. Peace.
Peace out.